Welcome everybody to today's love transformation session, and I'm joined with the beautiful Rosie Rees, a relationship coach, a nude yoga facilitator, and she's also the founder of the Yoni Pleasure Palace. Welcome, beautiful.
Hi Peter, good to see you again.
Yay, I so loved our conversation at the virtual retreat last year. Couldn't wait to have you back and dive into a juicy conversation, because even just in the last 12 months, we've noticed how much the dating landscape is changing. It's continually changing, and there's new frustrations and challenges and problems that are arising for beautiful single women to actually manifest this beautiful conscious relationship. What are you noticing?
Yeah, so what I'm noticing in the coaching sessions that I'm holding is that so many women, because I guess sex or dating is so readily available, literally on your phone at any moment, you can just jump on and meet someone. I'm finding that a lot of women are finding themselves in situations where they're sleeping with a lot of different men, so having a lot of different casual sex with men or women who are not quite what they want, and they're just saying yes to whatever comes their way, even though deep down they actually really want a relationship and they're wanting to feel chosen and to be claimed. Yet they're sending out these mixed messages to the universe by going out and actually having this casual sex. Or if somebody calls them up for a bit of a booty call, they're like, okay, yeah, why not? Even though, he doesn't call me back the next day or even sometimes the next week, but they keep going back. And so I'm finding that they're feeling so rejected, abandoned. It's re-triggering all these wounds that we hold within us that often that we've kind of had from childhood, or from our father not being there, or from other relationships that have gone wrong. And so what I'm helping them do is to actually choose themselves first, and there's a methodology to that that I take them through, but to basically stop saying yes to what they don't want.
Yeah. And it's becoming much more and more common, I guess, because the dynamics between us as women and men are kind of changing. The way that we're seduced, the way that we meet, the way that men approach women, the way that we engage in that courtship phase is completely different now. But what I'm really curious about is, because often logically maybe we know this guy's probably not long-term partner material. So why are women having sex when it's not the thing that's leading them to a relationship?
Oh, such a good question. So I feel as though it's kind of twofold. The first one is because they don't want to be alone. They would rather be with somebody rather than be with nobody, even if that somebody isn't exactly what they envisioned or what they hoped for or what they, want to manifest. They would rather kind of fill that space, fill that void with somebody who will love them or give them their needs. Maybe they also have a high sex drive, or it could be any of those reasons. So I find that a lot of women are kind of going out and having this sexual intimacy, but actually what they deep down really want and need and desire is non-sexual intimacy. So just for an example, when I was much younger, in my early 20s, I would literally go around and sleep with multiple men, throughout the month, even though deep down I really wanted a relationship and to be loved and to be, really committed in a relationship. But I actually had a really high sex drive. So, and I really wanted to have that physical connection with somebody. Now, I don't think that I realized at the time how kind of, I don't want to say the word bad, but, the effect that it had on me sleeping with these multiple different men, because you kind of do really take on an essence of them, or a bit of an energy exchange. It's not just bang, bang, and you're done. Like, there is a bit of a residue that's left over from that experience, that's such an intimate coming together. And even though I love that we are so empowered and that women can go out there, and like we said before, you can go and fuck whoever you want. Like, I feel like the slut shaming is kind of drifting out of our societal kind of norms now. It's like women can go sleep with whoever they want, whenever they want. And I love that. And I feel like if women are doing it consciously, awesome. Go and consciously fuck whoever you want to fuck. However, if you are going out and doing that, trying to get your needs met, but deep down you want a loving, committed, beautiful relationship, you know, you're sending out these mixed messages to the universe. So I feel like I said, it's women wanting to have a connection, and they're wanting this intimacy, but often, even though, you know, having this sexual intimacy, really, when you get that non-sexual intimacy with somebody, and whether that's a hug or like a long conversation, we used to hold these cuddle parties in Perth, me and an ex-partner of mine, and we would have them full. Literally every second Friday night, we would have 15 to 20 people in our house. We'd filled the lounge room with mattresses, and most of I would say 95% of the people who came were single, because they're lacking that physical connection, that you know, that touch with people. And so they would come in, and we'd all, you know, we'd sort of ask for what we wanted, whether that was physical touch, a back scratch, a cuddle, a conversation, a foot massage, whatever it was. And people would leave with their cup so incredibly full that they wouldn't really need to go and have that, you know, mindless casual sex that usually made them feel quite empty after that. So it was this really enriching, fulfilling experience. And in a lot of workshops I've done in sort of the sister circle realm and tantra, often it's just two women coming together and holding each other, or like connecting. It just filled up this cup, and it didn't make me feel like I needed to go and have sex. So it's when I started to experience tantra and real connection and intimacy on a non-sexual level, it filled up my cup, and I didn't need to go and have sex, random sex.
Love that.
I feel like, you know, so many women feel lonely, but you can actually transform that into just being alone and having this experience of all one, you know, all oneness, and enjoy being on your own.
It seems like as women, we're dating with a lot more of the masculine energy too, like making that conscious decision, right? I'm going to have sex with this guy, do that. It's like we feel as though we're playing at the same level. Why doesn't that work? Your understanding of that masculine feminine balance and the way that you talk about that with women is really important. But I think we're sort of missing the point a little bit, that there's still a difference between the masculine and the feminine.
I guess you can, like I said, consciously go out there and date from the masculine. And that, when I say masculine, I just mean you know what you want, you're going for it, you know, you've got a goal in mind. It's very directive, it's very, you know, it's kind of like a penis, it's going out there, and it's that kind of go-getter energy. That's the masculine energy, getting what you want kind of thing, getting shit done. Whereas the feminine dating from the feminine is a totally different experience. It's like this, you know, the yoni is obviously like the receptive portal, and it goes within. So it's kind of like you're still holding yourself in a sense of respect and honoring. And it's like you don't need to go get what you want. Like you've given it to yourself. You're already full of that love, you know, and that respect and that honoring in yourself. And a man can feel that. A man doesn't want to actually date another man. You know, he's going out there looking for a woman, and a woman in her feminine in particular. Unless he is quite a feminine man, then obviously he's going to probably attract in quite a masculine woman. And that can work as well. You know, there's no right or wrong. I've definitely been way more masculine in relationships, and the man being in the feminine, and it's worked for that moment in time. It definitely worked. But I don't believe it's completely sustainable in the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, this is a very individual answer, so in your personal opinion, do you think that it does negatively impact our chances of having a relationship with a guy if we sleep with him on the first date? We meet them out in the club, we hook up. Do you think if that guy is relationship ready, assuming that it has an impact on our chances?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I'm definitely going to say yes, because I feel like unless there's like this instant chemistry and connection and it's undeniable and you just want to rip off each other's clothes and I've heard of women doing that on the first date and it working out and them getting married and having babies. Like, it definitely can work. However, on the whole, I really believe that if you do give it away on the first encounter, in the back of their head, whether they admit it or not, in the back of their head, they're probably thinking, how many other men has she gone and given herself to? You know, someone in their power and in themselves and in alignment with who they are and coming from a space of love also wants to attract someone who's in that space. And I'm not saying that if you are sleeping around, I don't want to dig myself a hole here either, that if you're sleeping around that you're not in alignment, because that might be your journey. You know, we're all on different journeys. However, I really feel like even if you wait a couple of times, you know, go and meet them outside of the circumstance that you were in. And I've been, you know what, the opposite has happened to me, where I had this intense experience. On my 30th birthday, I met this, I was at Sexpo in Australia, and there was this male stripper, and we had the most intense connection on the dance floor, and we were dancing and kissing and spinning each other. It was like, did this full on beautiful lap dance for me for my 30th. And that I really wish I just said, you know what, I'll go home with you on that night. But I didn't. I was like, no, I'm going to honor myself. I'm going to just maybe see him in a few days. And when I went and saw him, and so I went home that night with my friend, and I didn't go home with him. And then in a few days, I went back to meet up with him, and the whole vibe had changed. The whole connection was different. We ended up sleeping together, but it was by far the worst sex I've ever had in my life. It was just, you could tell that he consumed a lot of porn, and it was very just goal oriented and trying to give each other these vigorous orgasms. And I left feeling so not full. Like, I felt so depleted and just like, why did I do that? I wish I'd just run with the connection on the night, even though I didn't think we were going to be in a relationship together. So I think it's a case by case, you know, thing to think about when you're in that situation.
Yeah, it is. And it's really interesting too, because we can all, regardless of what sort of personal beliefs we have around it or personal boundaries, we can all think of exceptions to that. I know that with a lot of the women that I work with who have a sort of tend towards anxiously attaching to people, it's not so much about what he might perceive or his decision or his choice. It's just investing emotionally, having that deeper sort of intimacy, which releases obviously all of those those bonding chemicals, and being so emotionally invested right from the beginning can trigger lots of insecurities and potentially self-sabotaging behaviours, rather than allowing a potential connection to develop and unfold. So there's different things to consider, but it really comes back to knowing yourself, right?
It's listening to I talk about the 3 different centers a lot in my work, and just being aware of where's that pull coming from. Is it coming from your pussy? If it is, great. Like, at least just be aware of that. Like, my yoni I'm dripping wet right now. I'm really turned on. I really want to just feel them. Then obviously just consciously go, okay, yeah, I'm going into this with my yoni as a hell yes. My heart's a bit of a no, or like I'm a bit scared. My head, you know, and then just figuring out where your head is with it. Like, yes, we get along really well. Just finding out where you're at on those 3 different levels, and go with it if there's, you know, that intuitive pull. But obviously, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
So for the women that are like, okay, I'm at a space where I want to give myself the best possible chance of meeting someone, having a beautiful, conscious relationship, not having missteps or side distractions out of needs that aren't going to direct me on that path. I'm ready for a relationship. What is your guidance, your advice, the most effective process that you help your clients work with to get to that goal?
So my method to, I guess, attracting in that dream relationship that every woman really wants, is usually the first step is to have a month of celibacy, complete celibacy from connecting with another person. And that is just to really clear that space in your body, clear your womb, clear your yoni, you know, so as you don't have anything kind of fogging your choices. It's like you're taking back your power, you're coming within, literally, and you're not putting yourself out there. So I think the first thing is just 1 month, if you can. If that seems like a really hard thing to do, try 2 weeks, but definitely 2 to 4 weeks of just no connection with anyone else. You can still self-pleasure and connect with yourself, but refrain from saying yes to the fuck boys or to, you know, those booty calls that you do usually say yes to. And then the second thing is to connect with your breasts. So a lot of women don't actually touch their breasts, they don't caress their breasts, they don't massage them. In fact, the other week I had a session with a client and I just simply got her to hold her breast, and it was the first time in her life that she'd ever even done that. She'd only sent so much hatred and like, you're not good enough, you're not big enough, you're not this, you're not that energy to her breasts. And in fact, her mother had died of breast cancer when she was younger. So the link between dis-ease or cancer or, you know, pain in this heart space, in the breasts, is so intimately linked with whether or not you connect or love your breasts. So, or at least accept them as they are. Yeah. So just getting women to connect with their breasts, connect to their heart space, I think is so important before even connecting to their yoni. You know, if I go tell women to go and self-pleasure in this way, it can feel a little intense, but to go first to the breasts, massage the breasts every single day, you start to actually get a bit more in tune with what your heart wants, what your heart feels. You might even have a bit of pain and emotion come up, particularly doing it in front of the mirror. So that's kind of my step number 2. And then step number 3 is doing exactly the same thing before our yoni. So first of all, just, you know, massaging the yoni, cupping the yoni, breathing with her, asking what she fears, what she wants, what she desires, asking all these deep questions to your yoni, just like she has guidance, she has wisdom that we don't tap into enough. We tap into our head and our mind because that's what we're conditioned to do as kids in school. You know, this is the main focus. But deep, ancient, feminine wisdom is actually rooted in these 2 spaces, in the heart space and in the womb space. And it's incredible when you go to this space, and I've had so many women in my sessions have this like breakthrough or this realization come to them, or this word of, you know, when they actually go to this space, it's actually ready. It's screaming something at them that they've never actually listened to before. So connecting to the womb, and then also on that is opening up your legs and looking at your own yoni in front of the mirror. And I think doing these things naturally leads you to loving these parts that are known in our society as sexual parts of our body, but actually they're also just parts, you know, whether they're used for sexual reasons or not. So it's reclaiming, re-embodying, owning, including the breasts and the yoni in this beautiful process. Gazing at your breasts, gazing at your yoni in the mirror, learning to love these, because how are we meant to love these places in our body? You know, how is anyone else meant to love them if we are struggling to love them? You know, I had this woman, she had a really big, she said, a bush. And she was like, yeah, but, you know, I've had men tell me to sort that out and fix that problem. And, you know, they've made a request for me to shave it. And it's like, no, have bush confidence, have labia confidence. I just posted on my Instagram about hashtag thick yoni life. So many women feel shameful or embarrassed about having thicker lips or like a bigger yoni, because it's not depicted in porn and in, you know, pictures of women's vaginas. So really getting comfortable and confident with your breasts, with your yoni, and then starting to naturally self-pleasure in a way that's not needing to get that goal of having an orgasm, but to make love to yourself, like to actually run that sexual energy in your body, breathe that sexual energy up and express it through your mouth and making sounds and releasing all that stuff that we hold on to, particularly that's stored in our womb. And it's not always going to look pretty. You know, we're told to be pretty, we're told to be good little girls, and we're told to be all this. And then we get to like 25, 30 years old and we can't have an orgasm, or we're completely shut down, or we have all this numbness and we can't meet the man that we want because, you know, we're not having these experiences in the bedroom. And it's like, it's unraveling all of that stuff that we've been told. But you are your own healer. You're your own coach. You can, I guess, facilitate this beautiful sensual healing with yourself. And honestly, it's incredible what happens when you spend a month doing that and really, really falling in love with yourself and your sexual self as well. Oh my God, so many women meet a man, like, or meet a woman, or meet someone that just, you know, is a complete vibrational match. And I've done it too. I swear, it's like anytime I've gone celibate in my life, it's like the dream person pops up. And I'm like, oh, really? I only got, 2 weeks into celibacy. But it's because you're sending out that message to the universe.
Right. And self-honoring. So you've raised your vibration to a place where there's no sense of need. There's no out of alignment energy there. That's really interesting.
And people can feel that, whether it's visible, it's invisible, but people can feel and sense if you're desperate or if you're hungry for something. But if you just have this sense of ease and contentment and wholeness in yourself, that is desirable. That is what people want, and that's whatever you are. You will attract that into your life, because that's the law of attraction. So it's definitely something people can sense.
Why do we have so much resistance around being more intimate with those parts and those aspects of ourselves? Is it just social conditioning, or is there something else to it?
I think it's a mixture of so many things. It's a mixture from religious upbringings, school, the lack of school education, sex education in school, parents. It's so many times I've heard from my clients that they've been caught just touching, not even really masturbating per se, but touching themselves. And their mum, it's usually their mum, walks in, catches them, shames them, and then instantly, and that's when the trauma happens, because you've been told straight away, if this is wrong, dirty, nasty, bad, I'm a naughty girl, And then most times women they don't touch themselves again. They become inorgasmic. They end up sleeping, sex is for other people's pleasure. It's not for your pleasure. So many things. You make the story from that shaming. And so for me, it's like I'm getting women to almost go back to that. It's usually around that 13, 14 years old. Sometimes it's even a bit younger. And I say, go back to that beautiful, innocent girl that was touching herself erotically, innocently. Because we do. Babies touch themselves. Little girls touch themselves because it feels good. It's like they don't have any of that mental conditioning that's bad or taboo or hush-hush or whatever. They just do it because it feels good. It's what I call erotic innocence. And it's a beautiful thing, and yet we get it drilled out of us. So I get these women to go back into that beautiful space of being 13, 14, 15 years old and unwiring, removing that occasion that where you were shamed, and then starting to live your life, even if you're a 35-year-old woman, rediscovering your sensuality. So what would that 14-year-old like to do right now, as she's discovering herself, if she didn't have all that shit that we've been told, or not told, as it were, to us when we were younger? And so it's kind of rebuilding, and that's really exciting. It's like rediscovering, rebuilding that beautiful relationship.
So what would you say, just for the viewers that identify with this, what would you say are the most common signs and symptoms or way that this is reflecting in your love life, that this is work that you should really consider embracing, that would be really beneficial.
Usually if they're not meeting the right person, if they're constantly swiping left or right on a app and not getting anywhere, if they keep saying yes to booty calls, yes to people who aren't fully honoring them and choosing them and wanting to be with them in a relationship, like it's about getting really fucking radically honest with yourself. I think that's what it really goes back down to. Like, are you happy keeping on doing what you're doing in this? You know, does this feel right? Like, do you really want a relationship? Own that. So many of us, it's like, oh, I'm just, you know, I'm happy doing this. It's like, no, just like own what you want, claim that, put it on your freaking vision board if that's what you want, you know, call it in, but at the same time, you know, have that foundation first here in you, in your body. And it's about being in your body as well. You can't mentalize this stuff. Anything to do with love, sex, relationships, it's an embodiment thing. It's an embodiment piece. You can't read a book and get it. It's like you need to, that's why I'm so passionate about, you know, the yoni eggs and the pleasure wands, because it's like, it's an actual embodiment practice of loving yourself without the shame that's wrapped up in that.
Love, love, love the yoni eggs. And you've got a wonderful opportunity for all of the Love Breakthrough Retreat participants this year. Do you want to share what special gift and opportunity?
Yeah, so we've got 20% off these beautiful rose quartz yoni eggs. So when you use the code Love Breakthrough, you get 20% off. And you just need to go to yonipleasurepalace.com. And the reason why I chose rose quartz is because rose quartz is the stone of love. It's the stone of compassion, romantic love, self-love, whatever love you need to attract and amplify. It is about amplifying the heart chakra space. This stone will help to, as a tool to, you know, accentuate that. So yeah, you can order a drilled yoni egg, which has a little drilled hole through the middle, and then you just order the string that comes with it, and you can pull the egg out. Just as a little side note there, because so many women get panicked that how am I meant to get this out of me once I put it in? So you just tie a little string through and you can pull it out. It's really, really easy. Just using it 30 minutes a day, putting an intention into it, charge it up under the moon. Just get really connected to it. Wear it in your bra. If you're not comfortable putting it in your yoni just means vagina or sacred space, put it in your bra for, you know, the week leading up to when you're wanting to use it, because that'll just charge it and get you to connect to the stone first.
Thank you so much, beautiful. We'll have everything linked below the video for people who want to jump across and secure a yoni egg with a 20% discount, and instructions on exactly how to use it.
Yes, so I've got all of that in the brochure that goes out with every single egg that you purchase, all pleasure ones. But basically you want to wear the egg, put the egg in the larger end in first, gently. Well, I like to massage the entrance of the vagina just to, you know, let the vagina know there's something there. If you feel any resistance at all, don't just push it in like a tampon. You want to actually just wait. Just wait for it to kind of, to receive a yes. It's like receiving that consent from your yoni to go, yeah, I would love to receive this egg inside me. And it kind of just, I don't know, it swallows it in. It kind of goes in and up and it rests just before your cervix. So it can't go beyond the cervix. The cervix is always closed. It only opens when you give birth. So it might go quite deep. If that's the case, just make sure you get a drilled one. It'll always come out anyway. I don't use a drilled stone anymore with the string. I just use an undrilled egg and I squat down. I can actually now, and this is only from years of practice, but I can isolate different segments internally to gently bear down and birth the egg out. You can also just put a finger in and scoop it out. You can get your partner to get it out for you. It'll sometimes pop out when you're on the toilet. So it's just a matter of for getting the egg out, it's just squatting down and relaxing the pelvis and gently guiding it out. But the main reason why women wear it is to help tone the muscles. So often as we age, with coughing, with weight gain, with childbirth, the pelvic floor can become quite weak. So it's just a matter of using this weight. Essentially, that's all it is. It's a crystal weight to help regain more sensitivity, regain more muscle tone, which helps to hold the bladder, the bowel, and the uterus in place properly. But with that, it also gives you amazing orgasms as well, which, yeah, who doesn't want that?
So true, so true. I think the benefits are really amazing. And if you jump across to Yoni Pleasure Palace, there's some beautiful products, and you've got some like a bit more of a read there as well for people who are interested in exploring even more about that.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, beautiful. If you would like to get connected with Rosie, all of her social links are below the video today, and we'll see you again for tomorrow's training. Bye for now.
Bye.